So my not that deep of the day is it's not that deep if you or someone you love has to cancel plans. And it's not that deep because not everybody has the same, energy level. I mean, honestly, some people's energy level is at 10% by noon. And I'm one of those people a lot of the time. So be patient with the ones you love and be patient with yourself.
Wait, it's not that deep. Kristen Harris, welcome to Not That Deep. I am so excited to have you here. We met on Zoom maybe over a year ago when I was doing or looking to do and then did the Global Lyme Ambassador Program. I want to understand from you your perspective on Lyme disease, GLA, the work that you do, the work that they do. But I first would love for you to introduce yourself however you want to be introduced, and then we'll kick into gear.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Kristen Harris, and I am a Lyme patient and also work for Global Lyme Alliance, which is a Lyme organization that funds research, educates the community, and empowers the patient voice. So we just do wonderful things for those with Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. And I'm so happy to be here with you.
Nothing's better than going back and forth with someone for also like your kindness just radiates from your emails from when I met you on Zoom, and just to finally have you in person after being in communication and like being on the same page and dates not working out. I'm just so thank you. Net, thank you. What started your relationship with Lyme? You mentioned you're a Lyme patient and now you work with and for GLA. I would imagine that you have a pretty strong, the world might have given you a pretty strong introduction to Lyme disease.
Absolutely. So unfortunately, yes, it goes way back to when I was 8 years old. I got a tick bite, back then in the 90s. Nobody knew a whole lot about Lyme. So I went to the doctor. They really didn't know what to do. I didn't have symptoms yet. So basically, long story short, I wasn't given proper treatment at the time. So I was not formally diagnosed until I was in high school, when it had reached the point of neurological Lyme disease where it was affecting my learning, my abilities, even getting out of bed to go to high school. So yes, it's been a long, long story, and I'm still grappling with the disease many, many years later, and now I'm using it as, turning my pain into purpose, helping those with Lyme, because I've been through it for so long, and now I want to help those that are going through the journey as well.
That's such a short version of your battle. Is it weird sometimes to summarize 20, 25, 30 years of your life into like a quick little, and that happened?
It is, because also with Lyme disease, there can be so many ebbs and flows of symptoms. So, in high school, I was really unwell. I dare I say was in remission, but for about a decade, I didn't have symptoms. I went to college, I lived my life, and thought I was cured per se. And then around 2014, started experiencing weird symptoms again. So when anyone asks me, oh, tell me your story, I was like, well, it's been like 30 some odd years. And then there's decades that are amazing. And then there's decades that are terrible. So it's really hard to just sum it up quickly.
Decades. When you were 8 and you first got bit, was there knowledge around you about what Lyme disease had the potential to do to someone?
Definitely not. That was kind of the beginning of the knowledge of Lyme. I grew up in Westchester County, New York, which is kind of near Greenwich, Lyme, Connecticut, where's basically the epicenter where it all started. So there was knowledge simply because my mom had heard it on the news or read about it. So she's the reason I even went to the doctor, because as soon as she saw the tick, she was like, oh my gosh. But, everybody, it really, more so in the recent years, has there been more revelations, treatments, and updating to testing and things like that.
When you're in high school and you start feeling these symptoms again, can you do your best to describe the symptoms that you had and were experiencing? Because I think it is so difficult for people, mainly healthy people, to fathom what people with Lyme experience, because you look fine, you look great. What do you mean you don't feel well? Like, what were you feeling as a 16-year-old that you kind of were raising your flag of, I don't think this is right?
It started more so cognitively. So always did great in school, loved school, great grades, wanted to do all the extracurriculars. And then slowly I didn't want to go to school, or I couldn't get out of bed to go to school. Then I started doing poorly in class, and it turned into, well, does she have ADD? Should we get her tested for this? So it was more so my brain function wasn't the same. And then fatigue. I didn't want to get out of bed, or I just would go to school and call my mom to pick me up. So it was not the standard you would read, oh, I got bit by a tick and I have a rash, or I got bit by a tick and now my knees are aching. It was very different from what you would think the standard symptoms are.
Did it, and how did it affect maybe your social life or extracurricular in high school? Did you have good friends that could kind of be there for you? What was that like?
I hate to say it, but in high school, I feel like I had more support than I did as an adult. And I think maybe because, I don't know. I really don't know why, but it was hard. It was around prom time. I mean, I will forever remember the amount of medications I was on before prom and having to take like a million pills before getting ready, and awful. But friendship-wise, the support is there, but it's still so hard because, when you're just trying to be young and fun and do all the stuff, to say, I don't feel good, not everybody quite gets that. And I mean, I still experience that as an adult now, that sometimes I can't make it to things because I'm physically not able. But when I have people in my life that are able, they may not necessarily get it. Like, can't you just come? We miss you. And I don't think it's ill intent, but they don't think about how I'm physically feeling, that I absolutely cannot do it.
You would love to go.
I'd love to go everywhere.
You would love to live.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's not in your wheelhouse, or it wasn't.
Yes.
Did you go to prom?
I did go to prom, and it was lovely and everything like that. But I do remember, days after, like wiped out. And even still sometimes, depending on activities, it just takes longer to recover when your body's not quite as healthy as everybody else's.
When did you, who put it together that this was from Lyme? When you were sick again in high school, was it kind of, oh, this must be the Lyme that she got when she was 8 and it kind of stayed dormant and now something reactivated it? Were you going to a specific doctor that kind of realized it?
Fortunately, at the time, I was going to a chiropractor from a car accident injury, and I started complaining about symptoms. My mom had talked to him, and somehow he was related to one of the biggest Lyme disease doctors. Even still today, he's one of the best. And it's his brother-in-law. Like the smallest world. How we were talking about how everything comes together somehow. It's really he just happened to be the brother-in-law of my chiropractor, and I went and saw him. So initially, it really saved me that jumping through hoops, because a lot of people nowadays, their test comes negative and, they can't figure out what's going on. Fortunately, at that time, I just went to his office. He did all the testing and he knew right away.
So you say that, and thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Every time you say something, just know that I'm showing gratitude.
Of course.
Thank you. So after high school, you go to college. Where'd you study?
Pace University.
Oh, in the city?
Nope, in Westchester.
Wait, was that a stupid question? What's the P?
No, There's two campuses. There's one in Manhattan, which I was going to come to, but I ended up going in Westchester and commuting from just not to make the whole trip down to the city because I was living in Westchester at the time. So I thought it was easier than coming down to the city.
It sounds easier.
Yes.
What did you study?
Marketing and business and management, things like that.
So when you're in college, you are feeling how?
In college, I was feeling pretty good. I mean, now looking back, I will say there was definitely signs there. And it's funny because once you go through the whole story, you can really go back. I mean, I can go back even to the best I ever felt. And there were little things there that I was like, I bet you the whole time. It was like almost like a ticking time bomb because through high school, same thing. College, I was healthy, traveling, having fun, living my life. Really, I had migraines here and there, which is common. So, of course, it was just, you're having migraines. I got medication. But overall, college was pretty safe, we'll say.
Okay. I would imagine when you look back and you can kind of be like, Kristen, you did not feel good then.
Yes.
But you thought you did.
I thought I did. And you know what else? Obviously, in college, everybody's having fun, partying, drinking, whatever. Things I do notice is like recovery time. Everyone, like we went to Vegas for someone's 21st birthday. And I remember waking up the next day and just being so sick. And of course, everyone has a hangover, right? But all my friends were functioning differently than me. And I would feel different aches and pains that they may have a headache, but I would be like ill. And now it makes sense that it was probably my body saying, what are you doing to me? Slow down. But I was just go because I was in my 20s having fun and living life.
Of course. And you can't be shamed for that also. I meant to ask, when you were diagnosed in high school, were you diagnosed with Lyme disease or were there other co-infections that you were told you had?
Yes, I was diagnosed with Lyme and babesiosis. So that was the co-infection that, unfortunately, I still am currently battling with it.
Yeah, I think that so many people just think Lyme is Lyme. And I think that the co-infections are really what were a pain in specifically my sister's ass, where you could kind of get certain symptoms under control, but like the babesia, or there was one co-infection that she has that like the sweating, like the amount of sweat at night, she'd change her, you know what? Fuck it. Like she would be fine with me sharing this, like changing her pajamas like 3 times every night. And it's like, I don't know if you would associate that with Lyme right away.
No, and I will tell you certain symptoms too are tied to so many different illnesses. I mean, when I started feeling unwell in, 2014, 15, I had a lot of sweating. I would have phantom fevers and just weird things. And they would take a certain symptom and they'd be like, oh, well, let's check your hormones. Maybe that's why you're sweating. And I mean, it wasn't any of that, but sometimes they pinpoint one symptom, especially when you have a million different things. I had neck aches. I had all these weird things, neuropathy, and all of these things. And they would be like, oh, well, what can cause neuropathy? Let's look at that one thing. And they didn't really take the whole big picture into consideration when there's, 15 symptoms or 20 symptoms. Look at that versus, oh, the sweating could be your hormones. I mean, it wasn't, but that's what doctors try to do to figure out what's going on.
That's the beauty of getting multiple opinions.
Yes, absolutely.
And functional medicine and all that good stuff. But so you, in 2014, 2015, so this is 10 years ago now, how long after college what was your journey after college? So did you live somewhere different? Did you move from Westchester? And then when did your symptoms kind of come back?
After college, yes, I remained in Westchester working. No really major. I mean, I did have a major car accident at one point, but that was actually in 2007. And my symptoms did not start till years after because they always sometimes think maybe a traumatic event or stress. I wasn't a super stressful, high-power job that had recently been taken over by a big corporation. So there was all these changes. I was given all these accounts that I knew nothing about. And there was a lot of pressure at the time. So that's kind of what I think may have reflared me with all of my symptoms that year.
That's so interesting that something like that can trigger something so intense.
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of a flare up,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll call it. And like, what happened?
Well, unfortunately, I was at work where my first incident happened, and I basically passed out, really have no recollection of kind of what happened. I just remember at the time I was working for a textile manufacturer.
Mhm.
So funny, but not funny. We had a sample closet with a million baby blankets and dog beds. And when I didn't feel good, I would literally go lay on a dog bed in the closet. And I laid down there for a while, was trying to figure out like what just happened. And then finally I was going to call, have them call an ambulance, but my partner came and picked me up because it was right around the corner. So I was like, I'm just going to go and get checked out. Unfortunately, at the time, they gave me no diagnosis. They were like, oh, you're dehydrated, go home and rest, which I was not, because I had been in an air-conditioned office drinking water from a water cooler in a cubicle all day. And it was just they couldn't find anything else wrong with me. Through all the scans and blood work, they were like, oh, you're good, just go home and rest.
So did you go home and rest?
I did. I went home and rest, and honestly, I was not well like the remainder of that week, and that's kind of when I knew something else was going on. And honestly, my first thought was never Lyme again, because I think I went through that, high school was so traumatic, from being healthy to all of a sudden needing to take, 50 pills a day and go to a million doctors. So I feel like it kind of blocked that out almost. So it wasn't my first thought. I was just like, oh, okay, maybe I got a virus, or, I'm coming down with something. But it really never went away. From 2014 on, it was like new symptoms were popping up. And that's when I really knew, obviously, it wasn't just dehydration.
So rest didn't help?
Not really, no.
Okay, just flagging.
Yes.
It's so frustrating to even hear just you not, I don't want to use the word gaslit, but I think that a lot of Lyme patients do experience gaslighting from doctors of like, you look fine, just drink some water, you're dehydrated. And I cannot fathom the frustration on your end of, what it's like to feel healthy. What it's like to feel like Kristen, and you don't feel like her, and you're being told to rest and hydrate.
Yes.
So how were you able to go back to work?
Yes, I did go back to work. So eventually, through, talking with my mom, my family, trying to figure out what the heck was going on, because no doctors were really helping me at the time, that's when I assumed it was Lyme again, and I was trying to navigate that. So I did go back to work and attempted to resume my life, which resulted in a lot of sick days and a lot of time taken off of work. So eventually I did go on a leave of disability, because I was then diagnosed with Lyme again, and I had to go through 7 days a week intravenous antibiotics and medications, and it was just not practical to be working 40 hours a week when fighting for my life, essentially.
What do you feel like that did to like your mental health?
Destroyed it, quite frankly.
But lightly, of course.
I mean, it's very hard to be a functioning member of society. I mean, I had a wonderful job. I was in a great relationship, having fun with my friends. I mean, felt like I was on top of the world. And that's where the mental health component sometimes gets almost roped into a diagnosis. So a lot of times doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And they kept saying, oh, well, you sure you're not anxious? You sure you're not struggling with depression? And the anxiety I was experiencing was because I felt like, my 30-year-old body was just disintegrating before my eyes. So of course there's anxiety. Of course there's depression. I can't show up for things. I don't feel good. But it really was hard because, I mean, it's a very isolating disease. And you can have the most wonderful family, friends, partner, whatever it may be around you. But having someone actually know what you're feeling like is very different than, support from your family. So I always felt very alone because I saw everybody else living their lives and I felt like I couldn't do the same.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that also. Because yeah, it is isolating. I don't know what it's like. I can see it from my sister's perspective. I could understand a little piece of it from you, but I will never understand that feeling. And I think so much of it is physical, and then the mental part of it is not spoken up about enough. Of like, healthy people have mental health problems and they're really serious. And when people feel isolated and they don't feel like themselves and they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, it is so dangerous. And I kind of just wanted to ask that because I think, of course, it's a physical disease, Lyme, but like it also, you were mentioning neurological, it's cognitive, and the mental health portion of it is so important. So thank you for sharing that. So you start feeling these whack symptoms again. You're like, okay, diagnosed with Lyme again. How long is that road?
I mean, honestly, it's still going on. To be frank, I did, go through intense treatments. Around 2016 is when I ended up on disability. So I was out of work. I'm sorry, 2017. So from 2017 to 2020 was my leave of absence from work. So I just spent a lot of time trying to heal. And at that point, again, dare I say remission, but I felt as though I was as close to the old Kristen as I could get.
Mm.
So, but even still today, once you stop treatment, there's always the risk of symptoms coming back. And also just, people's bodies change. And, as you get older, things change. And sometimes little symptoms pop up. I still get, migraines and certain things here and there. So unfortunately, it's still hanging around.
So I believe I read that you were bedridden.
Pretty much. I mean, I was able to do something. I mean, I was able to show up for my doctor's appointments, but in the grand scheme of things, being disabled, I was either at a doctor's office or home in bed. It wasn't like I was, out living my best life, which is another misconception I want to throw in here. This is a very important part of the disease, is people's perception of how you look. So because I was, a 30-something-year-old girl who showed up for work in nice clothes with their hair done and makeup done, when I had taken that leave of disability, pretty much everybody at my job at the time judged me. Like, what do you mean? You look so good. And, that is one thing I want to highlight, because through a chronic illness, majority of the time, you don't see what's going on. And, right now, I may look healthy, but that doesn't mean I don't feel horrible right now. And that is one thing that is so important. So there's many misconceptions that, oh, well, you looked great. What do you mean you were disabled? And again, there's so many different levels of disability. So I just always like to throw that out there, because you see someone walking down the street who looks beautiful, wonderful, happy. That doesn't mean that they're not ill or not feeling good or don't have something else going on. And sometimes people forget that. They see you and then they automatically judge you when they don't really know.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because I think that is such a big, I keep mentioning my sister, obviously, because that's how I am involved in all of this little megilla. But like, I remember she had lost so much weight, and someone had went up to her and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. You're so skinny."
No. I can't even imagine.
Or I'd heard through the grapevine that my sister was able to go to a wedding. And I heard through the grapevine, someone was like, "How is she able to go to a wedding? Isn't she sick?"
Doesn't mean you can't live your life. I mean, that too was, there were things that I did. Once I was in treatment and I was doing well, I went to birthday parties, or again, around the time a lot of my friends were getting married. One of my best friends, I went to her bachelorette party. I don't remember feeling good the entire time, but she's the closest person to me. I'm not going to miss her bachelorette party because of my abilities. And I mean, don't get me wrong, when I got home, I was probably in bed for 2 days afterwards because it kicked my butt. But, sometimes people also push themselves, like in your sister's case. She probably didn't feel good, but she was trying to support a friend or loved one. And it's just not fair to pass the judgments because you really don't know.
No, and you speak about it so well, and I'm sure that you have a laundry list of experiences that you've had or things that people said to you that you just kind of keep moving through. So what do you feel like helped you the most when you were sick between 2016 to 2020? Like, was there a treatment? Was there a supplement?
I will say a lot of focusing on wellness as a whole. I don't really remember a specific medication or thing that I did, but I mean, living a healthier lifestyle, watching what you eat. I mean, we're all aware that there's so much processed junk out there, so I stuck to a very strict gluten-free, dairy-free diet. You're also supposed to not eat sugar, which is very, very hard. But detox methods, I bought an infrared sauna, which has been so helpful. I will say initially, obviously, the antibiotics really were what I needed and helped me hit a plateau, but it didn't heal me fully. And to be honest, mental support, therapy, friends, I mean, having people in the Lyme community too has been just invaluable to my healing, and a lot of my connection to the Lyme community came through social media. When I was sick, I was like, I have to find community, and honestly, that's where I found GLA. That's where I found some of my friends now that, I mean, I've known some of them for years. Just a couple weeks ago, I met one of them for the first time in 5 years in real life, was able to give her a hug. And it's such a close-knit community that really having that support, I feel like, is one of the best tools to healing. Because yes, there's a million medications and I can't begin to come up with the best protocol, but making sure you have the emotional support component is so important because you feel so alone. And sometimes you feel like, your friends aren't there for you or people are turning their backs on you, and medical professionals. I want to throw that in too. A lot of doctors may not know you have Lyme or the testing isn't accurate, so you get misdiagnosed. So then when you have the doubt from physicians, the people you're supposed to trust with your life, literally, and they're saying you're not sick, or you sure it's not, it's all in your head, or you're emotional. So having all of that doubt around you, you really need a group of individuals that support you regardless. They believe you. They'll help you get to your doctor's appointments. They'll call you, when you need them or when you're crying or you're down and out. But there's just so much doubt around the disease that I feel like your network really is important in your healing.
It sounds like you have a good network, and that makes me happy. And I also want to, for everyone listening, like, this is a daily battle for you. Like, it's not like you overcame this and now like you're scratch free and you can just back to like a very healthy body. Like, I think that it's so important to note that like it's daily.
Yeah.
And like you manage the best that you can, and like you're doing amazing. Like, you're doing amazing. And I'm so proud of you. I barely know you. Like, I can't imagine what it takes to move through every day and not knowing when you wake up how you're going to feel, or if you're going to make the event that you have in a week that you really is important to you. And I thank you. And you're very strong.
Thank you.
You're so strong.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, because sometimes you forget that part because, everyone around you, I mean, just think about where we are. We're in New York City, right? Everybody is like in a mad dash to get a train, get to work, meet your friend for lunch, pick up coffee, whatever it is. And sometimes I can't do that. So, I work in a nonprofit that there's a lot of obligations to events and things. I want to be at all of those events. I love them. I see a lot of people in the community. But to be honest, I mean, even in this last year, we had a huge event and I was not well the days leading up. And all I think about is, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to show up? Am I going to be able to? And not only now is it, I want to be there, but this is also my job. So, you just have to work out what's the best for you. And I know when I need to take breaks. And honestly, sometimes I show up for things and I stay a few hours. And if I can't handle it, I leave when I have to leave. And fortunately, the good thing about the Lyme community as a whole is they understand. So even working for an organization that cares for patients and, funds research, they're patient. There's times that I have to take a half of a sick day because I need to rest in the afternoon or I have to, go to appointments. And that's also very important, is having that support in your career, because my past, when I was sick and everything and I ended up going on disability, there was so much judgment and just people that didn't believe what I was really going through. And, that's just honestly corporate America sometimes, unfortunately, but you just never know what people are going through. So just because I showed up and looked chipper doesn't mean I wasn't dying inside.
100%. Thank you. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I'll leave that. Okay. I'm like, let's keep going. So how and when and why? I mean, I think I know the why. Did you get involved with Global Lyme Alliance, formerly known as and officially known as GLA?
Yes. So, I can't remember the year. I should probably look this up. Maybe like end of 2019, I reached out to them to volunteer because I had a past history of working in events and marketing, and I always knew about GLA because I was in Westchester. They were in Connecticut. It was very close. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to volunteer for them and at least do something while I'm on disability. Well, I did for a short while. Again, COVID happened. So no one was really doing anything 2020. There wasn't a lot of in-person volunteering to be done. So I just kind of fizzled out. And when I was, back to normal life as much as I could, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out and see what kind of opportunities they have to volunteer because I really want to be more part of the community. And at the time, I emailed the person that I had worked with before and just said, hey, I'm just seeing what's going on. Is there anything I can do to help? And they happened to have a part-time position open. So they said to me, I don't know if you're looking for part-time work, which I happen to be. And they were like, oh, it's working in a program where you work directly with Lyme patients. It's a mentoring program where people come in seeking a mentor for support during their Lyme journey. And long story short, I had the qualifications and it just worked out beautifully. And I started working for them part-time, which then is now turned into a full-time position. And I'm running the mentoring program, the other volunteer programs. And now I'm actually helping support our fundraising side too. So I've slowly from, working only a few hours a week to now being a full-time employee as time went on. And just honestly, I feel like it was meant to be. I know it's so silly to say that, but I thought about reaching out, for years, like through 2020, 2021. I was like, oh, I'm going to get more involved. And then life happens, right? And then one day I was just like, I'm going to just reach out. And it's funny because the person I reached out to is no longer with the organization. And it went to another gal who's still there, who I love dearly. And she reached out and was like, oh my gosh, we actually have a position. So when we talk about it, I say to her name is Lindsay. I say to her, I was like, and she's the one that reached out. And literally the rest is history. And now I've been with them for 3.5 years, between volunteering, working part-time and working full-time now for a while. And yeah, it's been amazing for me. And I always say this to people when they come into our programs. It has been another piece of healing in my overall journey because even like meeting you, talking to you about your sister's story, every day I talk to people and not exaggerating, we get I mean, thousands of requests of sick people looking for mentors, looking for doctors, looking for help, caregivers saying, how do I take care of my kid? How do I take care of my spouse? How do I, take care of whoever? And talking to those people every day really are therapy for me, because once I was doubted by medical professionals, by everyone. I mean, I was doubting myself because I'm like, what the heck is going on with me? So now talking to people all the time, sometimes the first thing that they say is when I'm like, I totally get it. I'm here for you. That to them, they're like, no one has ever said that to me. So to me, yeah, of course, I'm going to cry now.
Can you pass me a tissue? I literally cry all the time.
I was trying to make it, but for them to finally have someone say, I get it, is what they need. And, there's parts of, first of all, we get requests from all over the world, because it's not just the United States that's having a problem. But there's parts of the country that have no knowledge of Lyme. They have no Lyme literate doctors. So we had, someone calling in from Louisiana that's like, no one will believe me. My mom doesn't believe me. My dad doesn't believe me. The doctors don't believe me, but you believe me. And that's why it's so important to have this hope and to have these programs, because so many people are left with nothing, no answers, basically thinking, okay, well, I'm going to be sick forever and I'm just going to have to figure it out. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why GLA does what they do. Honestly, it's a lot about hope and being able to let patients know that nothing is perfect. The testing isn't perfect. The treatments aren't perfect, but we're working on it with our research. And in the meantime, we're here to be a pal, to support you, to give you that emotional support, and just to be a friend, because so many people are doubted through this illness, and it's just really isolating.
I cannot even fathom how that must feel for someone to hear from you, I believe you. Where is this lack of knowledge, stigma, I want to say shallowness, but I don't want to be like a jerk. Like, why is Lyme disease so the last resort for so many doctors? If you don't know that, like, no worries.
Honestly, I can't answer for every doctor. I do know firsthand that diagnostics are flawed. And I can say that with certainty just because I do know from my own experience. I tested for Lyme many, many times through 2014 going forward. Many times. I mean, just to see, is it reactivated? Is it a new bite? I mean, you can get a new bite on any time. That was the original thought, is maybe I got a new bite. And every single time there are guidelines based on the CDC that you're supposed to have a certain amount of positive bands. So the bands have numbers. Personally, for the last couple of years that I had been sick, I only tested positive for 2 of the bands. To me, that makes me think, if you're positive, that means you have Borrelia in your bloodstream and you have an active case of Lyme. Mm-hmm. Well, based on the guidelines, you need to have a certain amount of bands positive in order for you to get like the stamp of approval, you have Lyme. So I can't even begin to get into where that was created or who decided those guidelines, but that is a lot of where it's missing, is the testing. So you may go to your standard lab in Quest or wherever to go get blood drawn, and you may test negative, but there are specialty labs that actually do a better job of not only just Lyme, the co-infections as we spoke of. Ticks can give you many other illnesses, unfortunately. And that's the other part, is just because my Lyme may have been negative, essentially, I could have had other underlying infections, which I did. I ended up being diagnosed with babesiosis and Bartonella, which no one ever named that through all of my journeys of being sick. No one ever was like, oh, maybe it's that, another tick-borne illness. So again, I don't know the reason why, but testing is very flawed. And when you see it's not positive, a lot of doctors are like, it's not Lyme, let's move on to the next thing. So then, people just move on to see, is it something else? Is it autoimmune? and they step away from it too. So then you're never treating the real problem.
That makes sense. I'm also envious of when you talk, you don't really say or like. I just wanted to call that out.
Well, can I tell you something? Because no one has ever said that to me before, because the last podcast I taped and watched, I said so much. I beat myself up so bad. I was like, I need to work on that. Do I do presentations at work like that? Do I talk to my friends saying I sounded horrible. So thank you. Literally, that's the best compliment I've had in a long time.
No, I'm having hair envy and I'm having speak envy.
Well, thank you, because maybe I didn't say but I probably will now.
No. I didn't mean to mess up your funk.
Oh no, it's
actually
totally
I did
cool.
Because I'm jealous, but
it's totally cool.
Like, can this girl just say a few ums? Thank you for that. What is a specialty lab that caught your Bartonella and Babesia?
IGeneX, which is based out of California. There are a lot of Lyme literate physicians that can get you. You can actually order your own test, but you do have to find a provider to draw the blood for you. So, what I did learn is that actually IGeneX has been recently approved to be covered by some insurances, which is a huge deal. Probably didn't mention this earlier, but a lot of Lyme treatments are not covered by insurance, like I mentioned before, because it does not follow the CDC guidelines. They think you have a certain amount of time on antibiotics and you're essentially cured. So that's the other component that I don't know how I forgot, because it's an important one, but when people are sick and doctors aren't helping them and they try to find avenues, sometimes going to a naturopath or another physician, and they may have to pay out of pocket for specialty, treatments. Ozone therapy, something I tried, completely out of pocket, things like that. And, I've been super blessed to be able to pay. I can't even begin to think about how much money to get where I am. But again, unfortunately, not everybody has that access. So I always try to be, mindful of that too when I'm speaking with patients, because everyone wants a quick fix. Everyone's like, I'm so sick. What do I do? And I hate to be the one to tell them it is not a quick fix. And sometimes it can take $100,000 to get well, but not everybody has access. Not everyone can just write a check or charge a credit card. So it's another obstacle to add to a Lyme patient's journey is the financial aspect. So you're struggling with your health and now you're worried about, how am I going to pay for this?
To have to choose where you put your money, if it's your food or your health, or it's devastating. And I think that is such a big component that people don't talk about. We did 2 GoFundMes for my sister.
I'm sure
it's not like she got better right after.
Yeah.
And I think I was always so scared of like the judgment of others of like, they're doing another GoFundMe. We just did one 4 years ago. How isn't she better? She must not be going to the right doctor. She must not be taking this serious enough. Like, what is the family doing? Like, it doesn't matter.
I know.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And that is an added stressor. I mean, individuals are fighting for their lives anyway, and now they're trying to figure out how to pay for, a $10,000 doctor's appointment or treatment, and some people just don't have the means. So then that, adds to the mental strain and anxiety or depression behind the illness, because if there's something that could help you, but you can't afford to pay for it, again, what are you choosing? Are you choosing to pay your rent or to pay for a therapy that could be expensive? It's unfortunate, and it really is just making patients' lives more difficult, not being able to have the easy access to affordable treatments and, knowledgeable doctors.
And then let's say they do choose to spend the money on a doctor or therapy. And what if that doesn't work?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I see the Okay, just pause, Dana. You don't need to say GLA, I find to be an incredible, incredible organization. I was a part of a supporters support group at one point. I thought that was brilliant that they were able to give resources to those who are supporting people with Lyme. And how can more people find out about GLA? Like, is there a website? Is there a social media handle that they can follow and keep up to date with?
Yes, absolutely. So gla.org is our website, and Global Lyme Alliance on Instagram or any of our social media platforms. And of course, if anybody listening is a Lyme patient or knows somebody that does need support, please send them to our website because, again, we have amazing programs that are able to help support. We have resources. I mean, from our research down to how to check for ticks or where to send a tick if you find one on you and you want to get it tested. So we really try to support in any way we can. And if it's a resource we really don't have, we try to find a way. As I mentioned, internationally, we've had a lot of people reaching out from all over the world. And, we are a global organization, but we're based in the United States. So our resources are a lot more plentiful in the United States, but we may know, a research lab in Switzerland, so we can reach out to them and see, like, what doctors do you know? So we always try to provide the support that we can. And I mean, literally yesterday, I got someone that reached out to me from the Netherlands looking for support. So this is not exclusive to the United States. If people don't already know this, it really is global, and we're here to help.
I think the fact that you've turned your own story and your own battle into a way to educate and help others is like the most moving part of who you are, because a lot of people would be really knocked down from what you've been through, and you use it to like fuel others and help others and give people support. And like, from the bottom of my heart, I just thank you for the work that you do. And whether it's fundraising, whether it's research, whether it's telling someone where to get blood work done, like, these little pieces that you're giving to someone is something that they wouldn't have had unless they were put in touch with you. And so thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I try, at one point I really didn't know what I was going to do, so I try to be that person for others. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I get off the phone with people and cry myself about their stories because it brings up stuff that I've been through, or, just like I said, financial situations. Some people literally don't have $10 to go buy a supplement that could help them. And that is where it's so upsetting, because there shouldn't be a barrier in healing that is financial. And I mean, I could go on forever about just how that is in a lot of people's cases. It's not exclusive to Lyme. There's all sorts of illnesses where people are going bankrupt over being sick when it's not a choice. But
it's not a choice.
Exactly. And that's why we try to do our best to be able to provide any sort of resource, or, younger individuals. We have some resources for grants, through other foundations. We try to say, okay, well, we can help find you a financial resource, or here's a less expensive doctor, anything to try and help, because people should not be limited in their healing because they don't have enough money to pay for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Then the fact that, like, that's why you're so good to talk to, though, for these people, is like, you have so much skin in the game. You can talk to them almost, you're not fully on the other side, as like you said, you have your days and you have your moments, but like, they look to you as their inspiration. It's amazing. We are nearing towards the end. My body kind of tells me when. But what do you have your not that deep of the day?
I do have my not the deep of the day. So I will tell you right now, I've been thinking about this because it's personal to me. And as I mentioned, not everybody has the same, social battery or capacity. So my not that deep of the day is, it's not that deep if you or someone you love has to cancel plans. And it's not that deep because not everybody has the same, energy level. I mean, honestly, some people's energy level is at 10% by noon. And I'm one of those people a lot of the time. So be patient with the ones you love and be patient with yourself, because I will tell you, I cancel sometimes and I beat myself up for days. And sometimes I physically cannot do it, cannot make the drive, cannot make the attempt to get dressed and show up. So it's not that deep. Your friends love you. Everyone around you loves you. Sometimes you just have to cancel because you're not up for it. So it's not that deep.
That is such a good one. Listen to your body.
Yes.
And people, listen to your friends' bodies and listen to your friends and loved ones when they say they can't do something.
Yes. And take it easy with the judgment, because again, everybody's different. And just because you feel great all the time and you can show up for a concert or some crazy event, your loved one may not be there. So be patient.
I love this. I could do this with you for 4 more hours. I don't even know what time it is. I thank you so much for
Thank you.
making the trek here, sitting with me, talking with me, not saying or like, which I'm just still kind of blown away about. I feel like that's crazy. But thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.